What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ and Bucky with you. Buck, not a lot of sleep last night, buddy. The old Monday night turnaround. I mean, I guess it's a good thing it's not a road game because then you really get home in the middle of the night. But I love games at SoFi. It's a great atmosphere. It was an unbelievable atmosphere and a crazy game last night. But getting out of that stadium is a flipping nightmare.
No, I don't envy you. I know Monday nights in Inglewood can be tough.
Oh.
And when I just watched the game and I watched how it was, because it can be a bit of an Eagles takeover. There are a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans that are in town and then they descend upon SoFi, so it can be a bit of a mess. But it had to be a great game to watch. And I just keep saying this, man. Tony Jefferson has to be my age, but he's still playing. I mean, like still playing, still being around the ball, making plays or whatever. So good for him. Like Carl had a great career.
I mean, he's set the stage for people coming out of retirement, which we'll get to another person who's going to do that here, it sounds like, shortly. But, I mean, the man was in the scouting department for the Ravens and totally ready to move on. And then now he's come back and he's made some enormous interceptions for this Chargers team. And it goes back to, what you preach as a high school coach, but good things happen when you chase the ball, man. Good things happen.
So there are a few different things, because I got to say this. One of my assistant coaches is like the biggest Charger fan. And so he was in the building watching it. And we're a team that plays a lot of zone. But one of the benefits of playing zone, and you've seen it on your own eyes with Jesse Mentor, man, when you play zone and you get eyes on the ball and just the reaction. So it's not even Tony Jefferson's play. It's the
Cam
corner.
Hart.
Cam Hart just kind of hanging out in the flat. He sees Jalen Eyes. He makes a late reaction to get a tip. And then you talk about Tony Jefferson running to the ball. It is just that kind of stuff. And we've seen more teams go to zone looks, but when you play vision and break, tips and overthrows becomes a real thing when it comes to taking the ball away.
Yeah, no, it was a real thing. And last night, I give Justin Herbert a tremendous amount of credit too, man. He's out there playing with a broken hand. He just had surgery, pins and a plate inserted, and he was sacked 7 times, but he ran the ball 10 times. So technically he was tackled at least 17 times, not counting the other times he might have been hit within the pocket. So an incredible amount of toughness that he displayed. And I was talking to somebody else on the team and that was new to the team and said like that was the biggest surprise to him, or what he did not know going into it was how tough Justin Herbert was. He's like, from the side, from other teams, you watch him and you know how talented he was. But he said, I did not know just how tough he was, and doesn't complain. Truly kind of a football player more so than even a quarterback.
Yeah, DJ, when looking at Laura Rutledge talk about the injury, I think it's very similar to what I did in my hand. I think it's a third metacarpal injury, like a spiral fracture. And so the thing that he had on the pad is very similar to what I wore in college when I did mine. Now, I played in like 11 days. For him to play in a week is ridiculous, because I can still remember the throbbing and I know they probably gave him a little numbing agent, something to take it off. But DJ, even in that, and you can see it's in his non-throwing hand. But when bodies are around, you have to change your natural reactions when it comes to putting your hand down, how you protect yourself. He's even running the ball. The normal inclination is to put 2 hands on it, but then that exposes the contact. So just having to rewire your brain in less than a week, man, credit to him, because they needed him, and he showed up like franchise quarterbacks are supposed to show up for your team.
Yeah, and look, it wasn't perfect. He had a couple fumbles, had a couple throws he'd like to have back, but man, it was it was a gritty, tough performance. And a couple other things that stood out in that thing, man. Man, it's such a luxury when you got a kicker like Cameron Dicker. Is I think five field goals last night, and Buck, he doesn't even flirt with the uprights, man. Everything is true. It is right down the middle. It doesn't matter if it's 55 yards or 35 yards. When you're watching, I don't know how you do it when you're on the sidelines, and where we are situated, we're kind of in the corner of the end zone where our booth is for those home games. So you can't. It's not like you have a great angle to see the kick. So you have options when you're broadcasting a game. You can either watch the monitor. You can watch the screen in the middle of the field, the Oculus, or what I do is I'll watch reaction. So, and I'm telling you, Buck, it's like from the legs swinging to the stick the hand out to shake the holder's hand. Like it is it's kick and then it's shake the, like, oh, this thing's right down the middle, man.
But look, man, there's a luxury to having a great kicker. And there's also a luxury to having a bit of an old school coach who takes the points when the points are there. Yeah. At a time where everyone is going for it on fourth down and whatever, like Harbaugh's willingness to take the points and just stack the points to give yourself a chance to win, I love that. But look, when you have a kicker who is nails, and let's just say nails from 50 in, nails from 55 in, it changes the way that you call games. You know, I just need to get to the sweet spot, the 35-yard line, and we have points available. So for the Chargers, it's a huge advantage, and it's one that paid off for them last night.
Yeah, I want to get to one other Charger thing, then we'll flip over to the Eagles because we need to hit on that thing. But, man, it was nice to see from the Chargers standpoint, Amari Hampton back in. He catches a touchdown. He runs the ball 13 times for 56 yards. So he knew he was going to be on a little bit of a pitch count first game back. Kamani Vidal, it doesn't look like much, 14 for 44, only 3.1 yards with a long of 8. But he ran hard, and they also popped a long catch. So he gets a 60-yard catch early in this game. So that combination, I think, is going to be a nice 1-2 punch. Think about this team. Buck, I'm looking at the landscape of the AFC, and I'm like, man, you can't say the what ifs, but holy cow, if you had your 2 all-pro level tackles and they lost, they've been out without their top 2 running backs for the majority of the season. Yeah. So you lose Najee Harris, for the majority of the year, and Amari Hampton only played a couple games. So it's kind of the what if thing, but where they are now and as wide open as the AFC looks, they've got to figure out some pass pro in terms of just schematics, not physical beats. You're going to have physical beats. You can't have Nakobe Dean getting a clean run through.
No, that was
7 times. That was Vic Fangio special where he was able to exploit a little bit of their pass protection. So they've got a schematic adjustment that needs to be made there.
Here's the thing about the AFC. And I say this, obviously, being down in Jacksonville, it is as wide open as it's ever been in terms of who can go to the show. And it's a combination of playing your best ball, but it's also being healthy at the right time, being able to have all your guys going into the tournament. And the final part of it, in terms of who goes, the matchups. Yeah. Those first-round matchups are really going to matter in terms of who you get lined up against, because there's some teams that each team matches up better against, and there are other teams that are nemesis that you necessarily don't want to see in their first round. To me, I can't say that they're glaring weaknesses in any of the teams that we right now forecast in the playoff field. But some teams might have a potential to go to a higher ceiling. But it's going to be interesting, because when I look at the Chargers, I look at the Texans, the Jags, and everyone that's in there, very compelling matchups. But the one trait that remains true that we've talked about is a quarterback-driven league. You've got to have a quarterback to be able to get it done. Now it looks like quarterback in defense and coach. But if you got a quarterback, you got a good defense, you got a head coach who knows how to run the game, man, you got a shot.
All right, let's do the not so nice thing. Let's flip it over to the other side. Now, first of all, Vic Fangio, those corners, that defense, even without Jalen Carter, that's real. That group is very, very talented. I know the Bears ran all over them last week. Chargers, I know that was their game plan, and weren't able to have that same success. But, man, they fly around. I mean, they cover as well as anybody on the perimeter. That is not an issue. They have a Super Bowl caliber defense, especially they get Jalen Carter back in the mix. And Jalen Phillips has been a nice addition for them. Now, we got to go, though, and spend our time on the other side, because I want to get to just your reaction on one play. Because everybody's going to talk about the 4 interceptions, the fumble, like the 2 turnovers on the same play from Jalen. I've never seen that before. That was a first. To me, there's opportunities that are there that he's not seeing or attacking or taking advantage of. There's one play I want to get your thoughts on, because I'm watching it, and they end up taking Saquon Barkley. They removed from the backfield. They split him out wide. Chargers have, and I can't remember if it was Still or Hart, but it had their starting corner on Devontae, who at the time was in man on the line, right?
Yep.
So if Barkley goes out, they bump. So corner goes out with Saquon.
Zone coverage.
Zone. Now you get Elijah Molden, who walks down over Devontae Smith. There's nobody else there. So now I'm saying, well, man, that's where you start. That's where your eyes are going to go. I think it's a third down. It's a big play. Buck, he never even looked there. He didn't even go there. And I'm like, Devontae Smith is good a route runner as you get. And you've got that matchup sitting there waiting for you. and it was never even in his eyesight, never even went there.
Yeah, the one thing that I worry about now with Jalen, because I won't put it all on him, I'll say it's one of the things that we always talk about. There's a trust issue that is going on in Philadelphia. And so it could be player to player, it could be player to coach, it could be player regarding the scheme. And the quarterback has to have the trust in all of those parties to be able to play at his best. Meaning, when a play call comes in, I trust it's a great play call. I know it like the back of my hand. And I'm going to trust that I can just let the ball go to whoever it's supposed to go to, and they're going to make the play. Because of all of the noise, I just feel like Jalen just has like a cloud, just a lot of clutter in his brain. And so he just doesn't see it and is just not playing the game the way that we've seen him play. Now, there's a lot on him, and he should be blamed for a lot of it. But I just think the job of the head coach and everybody is to simplify everything to allow the most important player to play the game the right way. And right now, I can't say that Philly is doing that.
I had another theory on this, by the way, which I don't know, is I haven't obviously been on the sideline with this team, and I haven't paid attention to their mic'd up segments over the years or what have you. But I know that offensive linemen that are usually the better offensive linemen on your team, that are usually the vocal leaders on your team, I've seen it on teams where they can bully play callers, Buck. And I'm sitting there in that game with Saquon popping some runs and getting the run game going. And even to the end of the game where they're throwing the ball, where I've been on teams where I just wondered with this team, if you had Kelsey or if you had Lane Johnson playing in this game, if they wouldn't have been able in between series to bully the head coach and the play caller and be like, hey, we're running the ball. Like, what are we doing? Just run the ball. And I don't know, maybe there is somebody that's trying to do that, but I've seen it before. I know you've been on teams before where you see offensive line, they can be like, hey, enough. Like, we don't need that. I know we're turning the ball. We don't even need, why are we throwing the ball? Like, what are we doing? Run the ball.
And so, unfortunately, this happens at every level. The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you have people who have a lot of opinions and they're very loud and you're trying to placate them, you move away from what the team does well. If we're really honest with the Eagles and why the Eagles have been a dominant team for 2.5, 3 years, is because their ability to run the football consistently sets up everything else. And the quarterback run game was a big part of that. The more they move away from that, the more they come back to the pack in terms of being just like everybody else. And I'm not saying that it's over and that they don't have enough time to fix it, but it's going to take Nick Sirianni stepping up and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we got to get it done. And I don't care whose feelings are hurt.
Yeah, Gavin put it in the chat. Now, I know the Chargers had a long drive to start the third quarter, which ate up, I think 8 or 9 minutes. So they didn't have the ball quite as much. But Saquon had 5 carries in the second half, Buck. Like, that's insane.
It's insane, particularly when Saquon has popped one. When he pops one on a big play, the first time we really get him going, we don't give him the ball. And I understand as a play caller, sometimes the game can get away from you. You forget, like, oh, man, Saquon hasn't had a carry in a lot. But, he's the driving force of the offense. And when he has it going, it makes it easy for everybody else. Look, I know they've had players-only meetings. I know they've had team meetings and those things. But at some point, man, they got to cast aside all the individual agendas and get back to playing team ball so they can be the team that many of us expected them to be this year.
Let me make a quick baseball analogy for you from my Padre fandom. What the end of this game reminded me of was a few years back where the Padres were playing the Phillies in the NLCS with a chance to go to the World Series. Bryce Harper comes up to bat late in the game, eighth or ninth inning, crucial part of the game. They've got Josh Hader, the best left-handed reliever in baseball, sitting in the bullpen, warmed up, like he looks like he's peering out towards the field. They leave the other pitcher in. I think it was Robert Suarez, and Schwarber hits a home run, wins the game for him. And I'm sitting here going like, you're all the way down to like the 25 or 30 yard line, wherever you are. You've got that's your closer. Your closer is the guy that's behind
the game.
Let him. And I picture Saquon was in the bullpen last night going like, why am I not closing this game? You guys are throwing the ball. We just lost because we got our closer sitting here waiting to come in all warmed up.
And it's a game where, look, in this situation, you can't, like, it's really a no-lose situation. Either we run it or whatever, we get the field goal and we extend it, or we run it and score a touchdown. Yeah, but at no point should what that showed up to be, should that be on the answer card? It shouldn't be on the thing. And man, that's one now. They can get into the playoffs. They're gonna win the division because the Cowboys won't be able to close unless they completely unravel. But if the Eagles are going to make a run, they have to have one of these hard realities, face the music moments where they say, hey, let's figure out a way to get this done.
Well, they need to get their right tackle back. It sounds like Lane Johnson with that foot injury is going to be coming back. And man, I don't know that I've ever seen a non-quarterback with the win-loss splits that they have with Lane Johnson. I mean, it is like 600 and something percent when he's on the field and 300 and something percent when he's not on the field. Like, it's insane. He's kind of the linchpin there that kind of makes the thing go. And I also think, but that's where I go back to my theory. Is he the bully? Is he the play calling bully for the offensive line? Like, hey, what are we doing? Just run the ball, man.
He might be, man. Who is that elder statesman? Who's the guy that is the voice of reason on that? Like Gavin just put in the chat, that 15-27 record when Lane Johnson isn't available.
Insane.
I mean, that tells you everything.
One of the best teams in the league.
And one of the things that we've always talked about the Philadelphia Eagles is how they've committed to the offensive line. They're big on the trenches. But now we're seeing, is he the Jenga piece? Is he the piece of the puzzle that you remove him, everything falls apart? If that's the case, man, they need him back, and they need him back in a hurry. Yeah,
I mean, you start sizing up the rest of the NFC, and you're looking at it going like, okay, man, I don't know that they're in that top tier right now, which sounds nuts. They just won the Super Bowl. And I do look out there. I was talking to somebody in their media side after the game was over, and I said, man, like the thing about the Eagles, when you look out there and you see, first of all, you go down there to warmups and you see the size and the physicality and what some of the body types are in these guys. And you see Saquon Barkley, you see A.J. Brown, you see Devontae Smith, you see Dallas Goedert. I'm like, the heck is this offense not better than this, man? Like that does not add up.
I'm telling you, DJ, it's because they're not playing to their superpowers. It's almost as if they just don't want to lean into what they need to be. And I understand this team has been well constructed where they don't have, from a personnel standpoint, a glaring weakness on offense. We can talk about the line injuries and those things, but they got two number one receivers on the outside. They got a big-time tight end. They got a huge, look at all-pro running back and a quarterback that can drive the bus. And they refuse to just, hey, let's run it first and get to the weapons. Just because we have those guys out there doesn't mean we have to run it through them. Run it through Saquon and then get to them. Everyone can benefit if they play a certain way.
All right, Buck. I heard about this the morning. This came out in the afternoon. I heard about it in the morning that this was likely to happen. I think it's fantastic. I think it's such a microcosm of how Phillip Rivers plays football, and that Phillip Rivers does not care. Hey, you could end up embarrassing yourself. This could look bad. He is ready, fire, aim. Like that's how he's lived his life. Like he is all the way down on the gas pedal, and he loves football as much as any player I've ever been around. I've been around the NFL since 2003. I've been around a lot of different players. I don't know that I've been around anybody who loves football more than Phillip Rivers. And the fact that at 44 years old, he wants to try and give it another spin, I think it's hilarious, and I think it's awesome, and I absolutely love it.
Well, the one thing that we do know about great players, all the great players we've ever been around love it. And his love for the game is undeniable. He hadn't hung up the cleats, and he was already coaching high school ball. And so the love is there. And I'm a believer in why not, man? Like until the wheels fall off, because once you're done, there's nothing else that gives you that same feeling. Like you can get it in different ways, but not that same man in the arena, the gladiator in the Coliseum feeling that you get from playing. And if you're Phillip Rivers, you have an opportunity in a 4-game run to save the day for the Indianapolis Colts in whatever capacity, whether that's as a starter, backup, mentor, whatever that is, why not? Your high school season is over. Jump right in and just see what you can do.
Well, the other thing is game plan wise, they had Daniel Jones with a broken leg out there, right? Yeah. So you were having to design an offense with a guy who really couldn't move at all. He's on one leg. So you just try to incorporate the same game plan in there. But I'll tell you the thing I would be doing if I was Shane Steichen on that offense, running that offense is tight end. Let's see, how many different things can we install here? Tight end screen, slip screen, tunnel screen, bubble screen, like every type of throw that can just get the ball out of Phillip Rivers' hand. And then the thing that's going to be nice is, who's going to like having him there is Jonathan Taylor, because he is going to check it. You have a head coach at the line of scrimmage. He's going to find opportunities in the run game. He's going to get you in the right calls and the right plays. There is zero learning curve. He played in this offense. He already knows all the terminology. He's taught this offense. So he's going to know where the holes in defenses are. He's seen every blitz known to mankind. So he's going to have all that stuff dialed in. To me, it's just a matter of, can he get hit and get up off the ground at 44 years old, having been 5 years removed here.
Yeah, well, the one thing that we do know about him, his playing style has not changed since he entered the league. He's never been a mobile quarterback. He has always had to get the ball out of his hands quickly. He has always been great at winning the game at the line of scrimmage. Watching the game on Sunday with Riley Leonard in the game, and Riley Leonard actually did a really good job for his first appearance. He did a really good job. His anticipation, his instincts, his athleticism all served him well. But there's only so much that he could do because he doesn't have an encyclopedia of knowledge in terms of looks and things or whatever. Well, Phillip Rivers has that. Now, physically, he may not be able to do some of those things, but some of the junk looks that you would like to throw at a young quarterback, those are off the table. Jonathan Taylor will benefit. And we've talked about the Indianapolis Colts under Chris Ballard and what they've attempted to do. They wanted to get the best athletes, the most explosive athletes, and teach them how to play ball and put them in a situation where they can impact it. Where if we're just talking about get the ball in the hands of your best playmakers, Phillip Rivers can do that, and they can scheme up enough things to help those guys on the perimeter have a big impact on the game.
Yeah, here's where the rub is. This is a team coming off a loss to your Jags last week. They're in second place in the AFC South. And Phillip Rivers, if this happens and he gets the nod, you are at Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, at Houston. That is a murderer's row, buddy.
I mean, there's nothing like easing them into it. We're just going to drop you right into the deep end and see if you can swim. But I think if you're Indianapolis, I think there are 8. The number is 10.
Mm-hmm.
They got to find a way to get to 10. Phillip Rivers coming over, would that help them find a way to get closer to 10? I would say the division games are probably going to be their best outlook because those teams well, the Jags and the Texans. Can Phillip Rivers help you win 1 or 2 of those games to help you solidify yourself into the postseason?
Last thought on this one. When we were kids, because we were similar age, Buck, there was a show, I don't know if you remember, called That's Incredible. There was a guy actually from our church that was on the show because he was riding a motorcycle at like 80 or 100 miles an hour while playing a guitar, like playing a full song. So he made it was a big deal in our church. He made it on That's Incredible, the show. If Phillip Rivers takes this team to the playoffs against that schedule as a grandfather, 44 years old, just celebrated his birthday off the high school field and leads them to the postseason, they need to revive that show, man, because that would be absolutely incredible.
I mean, look, man, it'd be one of the greatest feats that we've seen. An older guy get off the couch 5 years removed from playing, takes the ball, and it goes well. Now, the Hollywood ending would be that. The ugly part would be he realizes, this wasn't a great idea. So,
here's the thing about it, Buck. There's no in between. It is going to
it's going to be great or it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's like you talk about being a kid watching shows. It's like looking at Evel Knievel.
Oh, yes.
It's all good. It's all good when we're going.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
Yeah, a lot of broken ribs if you missed that jump. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.